This is why you go out in the world. This is why you make yourself visible. This is why you promote. This is why you show up at things you normally wouldn't show up at, because you never know who else is there. Because of all the things that you've been able to accomplish in your career and what you're still doing today, it's opened up a lot of doors for you to be around some of the most interesting people in the world. Mm-hmm. What's that kind of been like? Because I know when you go to different countries, I'm sure you were greeted with royalty. What's it been like being the backbone and support and having the exposure to some of the most remarkable, successful people around the globe for you? Like, what's the most interesting person outside of the normal realm that you got a chance to meet?
You know, I'm very, very blessed because at like 20 years old, I went to a Tony Robbins seminar in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, that was this big, this size room. I sat in the back, kind of lost, didn't know what I wanted to do, struck up a friendship with him that I still have to this day, ironically. But he taught me about, there's so many things in the world you can't control, but the one thing you can't control is you. And being a sort of student for life and someone who can constantly get better, that your fate is not predetermined because of where you came from, or just because I was in this small town in Oklahoma in this Walmart store. I was not predetermined that I'm gonna live there and maybe work my way up to department manager someday. And there's nothing wrong with that for the people that do that. But he opened up a new sort of frontier for me, which says anything's possible, really, if you're committed to being a student and learning from the best people. I met Stephen Covey when I worked for Sam Walton, became a dear friend, and I would go see him once a quarter up until the day he died. But what a tremendous guy he was to learn from. John Maxwell, we share a friendship with John Maxwell. I have known John Maxwell for a very long time, and he's been a mentor of mine for a very long time, as he has Brandon's. And I continue to learn from John Maxwell. Amazing guy. Deepak Chopra, another guy. When you learn things from guys like what would you learn from Deepak Chopra? Well, I tell you what you learn from Deepak Chopra is one day, he asks you, are you angry with anyone? Are you mad at anyone? Most of us at some point in our life are mad at somebody or angry with somebody. 20 years ago, I said, well, sure. Why would you be angry with anyone? And I said, well, I mean, they did this, they did this, they did this to me, they screwed me over here, they didn't take care of me here. And he goes, Kevin, being angry with someone is like this glass right here being filled with poison. You drink it every time you're angry at them. The only person that hurts is you. It doesn't hurt them. And he did a much better job explaining the example that I just did with the glass of poison and being angry at somebody. But it had a profound impact at the time because I'm like, yeah, you're right. Wow. So just the ability to meet these interesting people like that. John Wooden, spent a lot of time with John Wooden, and another tremendous leadership guy, and things, you learn about how to manage great talent. And when you have a real superstar on the team, and how do you not lose the whole team while you're also pressing the superstar to be better? How do you handle that? Is a dynamic that John Wooden spent a couple hours with me on, talking through the dynamics of that. So there's so many people out there like that are available. Marcus Buckingham's a really sharp guy. Pat Summitt was the head basketball coach at Tennessee. There's so many people like that out there that you can learn things from and glean knowledge from, that I just have been a sponge around that. So it was really just awesome to be able to be around smart people and people much smarter than me and ask them really what I thought were pretty dumb questions. And then they give you back this profound answer that makes you think and re-examine things differently. One of the amazing things about, I read a lot, and you can read the same book multiple times in your life and get something different from it every time because of where you're at in your mental headspace and where things are at in your life. And there's a few books for me like that have kind of resonated, and most of the people I've talked about already in the intro. But that ability to learn from really smart people, Brandon, I think is one of the most beautiful gifts the lives that I've been able to live has ever given.
This is what happens when you're around the right people, is that you start honing in on where the opportunities are, where you can collaborate, where you've got leverage, where you have relationships, where you have experience, and all of a sudden new ideas start happening. And don't be surprised if over the next 3, 4, or 5 months you don't see Kevin more as a fixture in some of these things that we're doing, and the opportunities that can and will be created from the collaboration, and those collaborations move to partnerships. So then I think about, how did we get here? Because this is some clues for you guys as a leadership program. First, we became friends. We just spent time together doing stuff our worlds really collided. Walked in a room at a UFC fight with Brecca to see somebody else. Kevin's in there. Kevin sees 10X. He goes, shit, I see this 10X jet all the time down in Cabo. Well, that's my jet. He's like, I see it down there. I go, where are you in Cabo? Next thing you know, we're both in the same place in Cabo. We're in the same place in Arizona. Where else? Oh, Arizona, where? Paradise Valley. We live, literally, you could throw a rock from my
a
house
couple blocks away.
and hit it.
Very close. Didn't know it.
Didn't know it. And all of a sudden you realize the world just keeps collapsing, and it gets smaller. And then all of a sudden we know some of the same people. I think what that is always a reminder to me that this is why you go out in the world. This is why you make yourself visible. This is why you promote. This is why you show up at things you normally wouldn't show up at, because you never know who else is there. So if you're just behind your computer, staring at a screen, picking up the phone and barking at your team, there's a whole world out there that you just need to go expose yourself to it and meet people and build relationships, because from that, it spawned from that to a friendship, to looking at collaborating, to potentially a partnership, to going and building something together. And now you get it all, right? You get to make money and be friends and let the business pay for the life and spend more time together. So that's been the cycle with us. And I think it's an encouragement for each of you to ask yourself this question, like, who are you becoming friends with? Who are you spending your time around? Who are you intentionally going out and meeting? Who are you accidentally meeting? I could have easily come in that room, and if I wasn't wearing my brand, you might not have said, oh, I see that 10X jet. We just would have passed by each other and not even thought about talking to each other. This is why you wear your brand. This is why you promote. This is why you get out there.